Hello and welcome to today's uh, recording. I am going to also do a recording with my podcast. So I'm going to do an intro on that and then I'll start talking. So 1 second. Okay. Hey, this is Angela Brooks and you are listening to this on the podcast. This is Blogging for Profits. And if you are on Facebook, then you are watching it live on my page. And today, my title may have grabbed your attention because it says what I learned from a crackhead. And I worked for 25 and a half years in the psychiatric hospital that was 40 minutes away from my house. And I learned a lot of things from the people that I worked with. And a lot of those were straight out of jail. They were straight off the street. They were in and out of rehab and trouble in jail and had lots of things going on. And in between all of that, they either had mental issues and they tried to medicate with different forms of alcohol or drugs or whatever. They tried to mask most of it. And the thing that I learned the most is that people want to be heard. I hope I don't lose my voice. Still trying today. Is that people like to be heard. It doesn't matter what level of society has put them in, what label they've been put in, that if you sit and listen to somebody and just let them talk, no judgment, no, you should do this, or if you didn't do that, that wouldn't happen to you. Because they already know that what they did has caused them trouble. So the last thing they need is for one more person to tell them what they need or should or could do. So just sit and listen. A lot of times what I would like to do is get a cup of coffee, like real coffee, not the instant out of the package, and sit down and say, hey, would you like to have a cup of coffee? A lot of times it'd be one or two that was up earlier than the others. And like real cream, real coffee, real, have some snacks or something that is different, and just make an offer. Would you like to have some coffee? They could say yes or no. Most of them said yes. And I would ask, do you mind if I sit here beside you and watch the news? Rarely did they care. And in that time zone where you're sitting and simply sipping coffee, watching TV, or gawking at the news because there was nothing good on the news to watch, a conversation would usually come up. And I talked to lots and lots of street entrepreneurs, and I listened to them. They had some of the best stories ever. And there was a couple that we knew that were going to come around Christmas. They were going to come when it got cold. They were and they would disappear when spring got here because they could sleep outside or wherever, and they could hustle and get what they needed. Some of them traveled more than you do. And, like we had several patients that would go out to California or out down south when it was cold. They knew how to manage the streets. And I don't know that I can manage the streets at all. I'm sure I could if I had to. But these were some highly intelligent people that they always had what they needed. It was not like they were, they didn't have the best, trust me, but they knew where they could go get food. They knew where they could go get a clean change of clothes, where they could get showers. If they were hooked on something, crack, alcohol, cocaine, whatever, they knew exactly where to go get it. So if you're a resourceful person, you can always find the answer to whatever it is you're searching for. And if you're on my Facebook, I apologize for my voice, doing the best I can. It's better than it has been this week. But I made a post on Facebook this morning, and like I said in my post, some of the best conversations I've had were the highly successful crackheads, because they work longer hours than your average person. They don't complain. They just go hustle until they get whatever it is that they need. They work for a single-minded purpose. They know who their audience is. They know who their ideal client is, and they know that they've got to find that particular person to get that kind of drug, alcohol, whatever. So they're single-minded focus. They are very narrowed in their niche, in their market. And most of them, they will do whatever it takes. Doesn't matter how far they have to walk, whether they have to hitch a ride, whether they have to, it doesn't matter. They're going to do what it takes to get their fix done. I mean, that is the power of a crackhead. And, you know, with the junkie, most people, most of the junkies, they're going to do what they got to do because they know in X amount of hours they're going to start having withdrawals. And when you're on the streets and you have withdrawals, you can die. So, you know, you want to have that junkie mentality without inhaling the drugs. But you want a business. You want to be narrow focused. You want to know who your niche market is. You want to know how to get results when you need to get results. Most people won't even do the simple things that it takes to run their business. And these guys, girls, will do whatever, walk wherever. It doesn't matter what the weather is. It doesn't matter how far. And yes, they're out panhandling, and yes, they're stealing, and yes, they're running card games and everything else that's under the table, and, you know, being a con artist. But they're resourceful. I didn't say what they did was good. I said they're resourceful. So quite the contrary, most people, their goal is to make, say, $200 or $300 a month in their business. $200 or $300 a month. These guys could hit the street and make $200 or $300 a day. A day. And I had one guy that was raised in a very successful family, lawyers and CPAs and lots of people who had a very good education level. And I said, why did you not go down that path? You had, you know, access to all those people that could guide you in the right direction. And he said, I did work a job for a while. And he said, I was making, I think minimum wage back then was like $6, $7 an hour. He said, I couldn't even pay my apartment. He said, but I could go out and run some crack or run some cocaine. He said, I can make $1,500 a day. Why would I work a job? And I'm like, well, you know, you have a point. I get your point. In and out of jail, in and out of prison. He knew how to work the system. Good or bad, it is what it is. But he'd been on the streets. Well, I was there, 25 years, and he was in and out that entire time. So I just wonder how far you would go for a free training or a free piece of information that's going to push you forward in your business. What would you do? Would you click a link? Would you would you fill out a form? Would you anything simple? Well, let me tell you, this crackhead would walk 20 miles. He said he did it often. He would walk 20 miles, do his thing, be resourceful, get another hit so that he could walk 20 miles back. Most people who are trying to run a business or claim that they're running a business won't even click a free link to get into a training that's going to teach them the step that they're missing. Because I just bought a training from a friend of mine because I trust his training and I want to do some Facebook ads. But to hire somebody to do my ads is $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And I know that I can run them cheaper than that. It's just I've got to dial in and tweak some things to get it running for me. So I've got one ad up, got that going. And I've got to go finish some other modules that I am going to play, stop, and implement as I watch his modules. Number one, I trust him. Number two, his stuff works. And he's a very good teacher, so it's easy to learn from. So if you're not clicking the link and adding yourself to tonight's training, you're probably missing out on a very simple education that may put you into the next level of your business. You can go to angelabrook.com/webinars. And that's where we have a training every single Wednesday. I'm also going to put the link here underneath this video. If you're on the podcast, again, that's Angela, ANGELA, Brook, BROOK.com /webinars. It is a free webinar. And if you want to go inside to see exactly what the system looks like, it costs you $10. You don't even have to be a crackhead to know that it's a good deal. So I hope this is helpful for you. I have always talked about sharing stories with my business and with people in business, and sharing stories from the psychiatric unit is probably going to be more on my page than it has been, because they taught me so much. So y'all have an amazing day. This is Angela Brooks. If you're on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. If you're on Facebook, use the share button, send this to somebody that you think this would be helpful, and I will see y'all tomorrow.